Hey guys, this is Dave with Audio In. Now, as I sit here right now, I have to say I'm kind of questioning some things because up to the point that I sat down and took my very first listen to the Aful Magic 1 at Can Jam SoCal, if you had told me that you could take a single balanced armature driver, put it in a shell, and achieve this kind of tuning, I'm not sure if I would have believed you. Well, here we are. Yeah. Okay, let's go over what's included in the box with the Magic 1. Of course, we have the IEMs and cable. It also comes with a pretty decent assortment of tips. It also has a good case. It's the same case that comes with the Performer 5. It's actually quite protective and it's pretty easy to throw in a bag and it's pretty transportable. So the case is pretty good. As for the price, specifications, and design, the Magic 1 comes in at $139. It has a custom designed single balanced armature driver configuration. The driver is housed in a 3D printed shell, which adopts a pretty complex rear cavity airflow type of design. The purpose being to enhance the bass response of the balanced armature driver. And if you look closely, you can see how complex and precise the internal acoustic structure of the Magic 1 is. So you can see the BA driver, the Nautilus acoustic structure, that's what they call the curvy tube structure there. You can also see a chip, and that chip is part of what Aful calls SE acoustic math technology, which, to be honest, I don't fully understand, but I do know its purpose is to enhance the treble response and to kind of help provide better treble extension. Now, in typical Aful fashion, the design and build of these IEMs is excellent for its price point. I absolutely love the simplicity of the design, and sometimes a design can look simple as though they went minimalistic on purpose, but you can tell it's not very well thought out. But that's definitely not how the Magic 1 strikes me. When I look at this, it looks well thought through, and I see minimalism or simplicity with a purpose. The snowflake-like white pattern design on top of what looks kind of like snow on the faceplate combined with the clear shell looks really, really nice. And it's kind of giving me winter vibes, which of course is very timely because we are now coming into winter. The matching cable looks very, very nice as well. It's a 2-pin cable with a 3.5 single-ended termination. The quality is generally good. It's soft, it's comfortable, and it doesn't have too much memory, so it's pretty manageable and easy to roll up and store. Okay, let's move on to the sound. And then one last thing before we jump into the sound, I need to point out that I did most of my testing using the Divinus Velvet ear tips. And I'm sure you've heard me mention these in my last few videos because I've been using them on a lot of IEMs. And I do still have my other favorites as well, but I have to say these tips work very well on just about every IEM I've tried them on. They're very comfortable. I never have any issues trying to achieve a proper seal. And I like that they kind of have that wider bore. Now, it isn't a grippy ear tip. The texture is softer to the touch, hence the name Velvet. But again, I have no issues with them sliding out, even when I'm using them on stage playing drums. They're very secure, and again, they offer a very good seal and a very comfortable fit overall. One of my new favorite tips. So how does the Magic One sound? The sound profile of the Magic One does lean warm, but because of the amount of treble energy on the top end, it still sounds nice and balanced overall. So it's definitely not an overly warm presentation. It also has good extension in both directions. So great treble extension and really good bass extension as well. Speaking of the bass, this being a BA driver, it's not going to necessarily give you great dynamics, but it is better than I would have expected from a single balanced Armature driver, especially at this price point. Now, because of that additional warmth and mid-bass energy, the transition from the lower mids, the bass does lack a little bit of control ever so slightly, but what it does give you is a little bit of that extra richness in some instruments and male vocals. And it also gives you added note weight, again, on those instruments as well. So the bass is good for this being a single balanced Armature driver, but there is better bass out there at this price point. And I would point to the Galileo or the Kima Classic. Now, where we start to see the magic of the Magic One is in the upper mids and treble, probably more so in the treble. Again, it does lack a little bit of low mid clarity, but it really does start to clean up nicely as you move up the graph into the upper mids, where you have enough vocal and instrument presence, but they are definitely not too far forward as to dominate the mix. I would say for this tuning approach, vocal presence is just about right. And again, some of that mid-range detail is revealed in the upper mids as well. And it's actually quite good for this price point. But as I said, the real magic starts in the treble tuning, and it's not just the tuning, it's also in the detail retrieval. It's actually much more detailed than I ever would have expected at this price. Now, usually what can happen at this price point is if you want treble detail or perceived detail, it can sometimes come at the expense of either too much treble energy or treble harshness, which can lead to listening fatigue. So you might have what sounds like good treble detail, but it can quickly lead to fatigue. And also, depending on the recording, certain recordings can reveal the treble's lack of refinement and kind of expose its flaws. But that's not the case with the Magic One. And I would say this is probably the best detail I've heard at this price point. Yes, even better than the Galileo, although I do still prefer the overall tuning of the Galileo. And not only do you have controlled and detailed treble, you also have good treble extension, which means good amounts of air and sparkle. Now, as for technicalities, I would consider the Magic One to be good for the price, and I would attribute that primarily to its treble tuning and detail. Soundstage is okay as well. I wouldn't say it's narrow, but maybe still slightly below average in terms of overall width for an IM. Instrument imaging is also about average. It's not great, but it's not bad either. Overall, I would say it's about what you might expect at this price point. Which brings us to comparisons. Now, while the Magic One's treble performance is really, really good for this price point, and even its overall performance is really good for this price point, I'm still a little more drawn to the Galileo, the Nova, Kima Classic, but aside from those three, I can't really think of any other IEMs at this price point that outperform the Magic One. So again, while it's not necessarily the best at this price point, I still think it's one of the best. It's one of the better sets out there, which means, of course, it does absolutely get my recommendation. But in summary, the Magic One, for me, is another super solid offering from Aful, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, considering all three of their releases have been some of the top IEMs in their price categories. And again, it doesn't just sound great, although that is definitely the most important thing, but the design, build, fit, and comfort is also very, very impressive as well. It's just an all-around very solid package in my opinion. Okay, so that concludes my review of the Aful Magic 1. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch. If you like my content, please take a second and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you would please like this video, please share this video. I hope you guys have an awesome day.